And next we have Forever Online Episode 1 uploaded. Forever Online LitRPG saga written by Chip Munster. It is 59 pages. It's a short story, folks. It is 99 cents. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. And here's the author's description. Maybe putting everything in the hands of machines hadn't been a good idea after all. But it was too late to cry now. We, the gamers, needed to act. Gone are the days when gamers are shunned and despised. Humanity is now facing a threat that defies comprehension. And the only chance to stop it is to get everyone hooked up to a virtual game. A game where rules are rich and complex and only the best can find a path to victory. The name of the game, Forever Online. So there you go. This is the first episode in a planned short story serial series. And I'll be honest, it's off to a rocky start. I'm one of those few people I think in the community who actually like short stories. I love the like nugget fashion of like, I can just pop in a bunch of these and I don't have to commit like hours or days of my time to reading a story that can be either good or really bad. And they're usually not expensive and they're not expensive in time or cost usually. And so I actually like short stories, especially the LitRPG ones. And this one just didn't work. And I think this one makes a mistake of having a planned series for the story, but making the first episode of the first book just setup. And I've seen this before when an author has a whole planned series that have this big storyline. And what they're essentially doing is having a larger novel and just cutting it up. And that just doesn't work as far as like making good little short stories, because it feels like that's what it is. Like, it feels like it's the beginning of a story where you would normally get your setup. But then it just ends and nothing really happens. That's almost exactly what happens here. There's virtually nothing to this first episode except setting up the premise, setting up the game mechanics and the beginning of the game, when you're getting in the game world. The premise in itself doesn't really make sense to me. It's essentially set up in this kind of almost dystopian concept of like the world is being destroyed. There's this alien interface system, and humans are trying to beat it by connecting gamers' minds to this network where they're supposed to attack and process and try to hack the system. But to the gamers, they're just going to play a game, and that's the premise of getting the main character into the story. I don't think it's needed, but it is there. It exists. I'm sure there's some plan for some series plot line. But it takes up a huge amount of this already short story. Like, it takes up 25% of this novel just to explain that particular setup. Then there's another 25% that's just explaining game mechanics, and character creation setup. And the information there is completely not needed, because again, the main character, even though he's given a bunch of choices, he chooses to be a human and he chooses his exact same name. So he's essentially himself. And so all that information is for the reader, but it's like stuff you're not using now. And so there's really no kind of point again. It's just eating up space. And the last half the story just drops the main character into the game with this high-minded storyline that doesn't really matter, because again, nothing's really going to happen here. He gets a quest and it's magically solved, and I mean literally magically. Like, in the story, it's described as, oh, you need to get to this place. It's really super far away from you, and then a few minutes later, oh, magically you're transported there with no effort on the main character's part. So I'm like, it's just like, it's frustrating. It's like nothing really happens in the story. Overall, again, it's lots of setup. Nothing really happens. I was super bored with it. I might give episode 2 a chance just to be fair. Maybe it improves. That's happened to me sometimes before as well. And again, it's a short story, so I don't feel like I'm devoting a huge amount of time into like giving it a shot. So, but for me, this first episode, just boring. It gets a score of 5 out of 10. That's Forever Online Episode 1 uploaded with the score of 5 out of 10.